What is up, everybody? It's your boy Tino here, and we're here today. It's Thursday, 5 o'clock, and we're here to talk another week of White Sox baseball. A week that was, and a week that will be, as we are in the middle of June already. I don't know why time is flying by so fast, but this time last year, things weren't doing so hot, and we just were not having a good time. But this year, it's getting a little better, and this past week, I think we saw a lot of it with a couple more call-ups and a bunch of things happening. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get the guys in here. Let's talk more White Sox baseball. So my right-hand man, what's up, Deech? How are you doing today?
What's up, Tino? Yeah,
How are
just
we
ready
feeling?
to hear and talk some baseball.
Let's do it. And we got the third man. We can't do it without him. What's up, Justin? How we doing?
Going on, fellas? How we doing?
So I guess we will, and I guess I will just ask you, and Deech, how do you feel about what we have seen in the past week? Because I think what we talked about it and we said it a lot last week. And Justin, you even said it. I wanted to see it against the Royals, and what they did last weekend against the Royals, taking 2 out of 3. And I mean, I felt like on Sunday they kept just talking about the sweep, and I was like, why'd you guys keep talking about it? You keep talking about it. Please stop. And the Royals came out and did what the Royals usually do against us, but taking 2 out of 3 against them. And then this past, and so far, we obviously have today's game at 7 o'clock. Usually Thursday games are in the afternoon, but we
Yeah,
got
they
the
didn't give
Astros
us the
game
getaway
tonight.
day.
And
Yeah.
huh?
If we weren't going to Texas tomorrow from Houston, I would have planned to bitch about that on here because I think that's bullshit when you don't give the away team the courtesy 110 or whatever afternoon game on the travel day. The Sox always do it for people, so.
Yeah.
I think that's terrible, but they're going to Texas. They're just going across the state, so it doesn't really matter. But
3-hour drive. I looked it up because I was curious last night. While I was watching the game, I'm like, I wonder how far it is, or like if it was like close. Because I was wondering if like there's people maybe that goes to like baseball games and maybe going. And so yeah, but no, I was thinking the same thing too, because when they said it, I was like, wait, and then I was like, oh wait, they're playing the Rangers, so makes sense. So I guess if you want to go see another baseball game, go and head there. But so we do play the Astros tonight, and we'll see what happens. But so far, the series is 1-1. We had a good game on Monday. Of course, Shane Smith continues to do what Shane Smith does, man. The man just I did not think, even like 5-6 months ago, this is who we would be talking about as a starting. Like nobody knew who this man was, and he's just come out of nowhere and just turned into this pitcher that I finally feel like now, for obviously, with Crochet and whatever, but we have a guy that can go out there and that we can trust, that can keep the game alive and keep us in games when we know that they can't hit the ball sometimes, as they've proven in some games. So, Deej, how do you feel about the past week and just everything that has happened with, against the Royals and so far against the Astros? And, I always love playing the Astros in Houston because reminiscing about 2005 always brings back those feels and all of that. So, oh yeah, Deej, how do you feel?
I mean, pretty good. Even with Detroit, they wound up splitting that series, which many people thought Detroit was just going to pound on us. The Kansas City, I was at the Saturday game, so Hauser pitched. Hauser is probably going to be a great trade trip at the deadline. I mean, really just to replace Martin Perez, because we all thought we were going to flip him. But I mean, it's cool. They're starting to bring the young guys up. I think that's really what intrigues me more to sit there and watch these games. Is it's all now pieces of, okay, these guys are all going to be here for minimally the next 3 years together. So,
and Ozzy said it last night. I just want to say before I forgot, they not worrying about the service time. They're not worrying about all this and that. The guys are ready. Just get them up here and let's see what they can do. Because even last Friday, watching Kyle Teal play baseball and just, like even just the way he was doing everything that he was doing last week and throwing runners out, and just, it's so nice to see these players come up. And yes, they struggle, and yes, they have it, but Chase Mydroff comes up cold last night and hits the ball freaking out of the zone for a base hit. And that's just stuff that we haven't seen in a while. So it just, it's one of those things with these guys that is so nice to actually see them be able to come up and play baseball like we hoped the last core would have done. And so, Justin, how do you feel? And have you seen a lot of the last week of games?
Yeah, I watched. I watched the entire Royals series and the first Houston game. I missed last night, so I know that it wasn't good. But for me, it's kind of like it didn't happen because I was out watching the NBA Finals game, which was a great game. If either of you watched,
What's that series at now? Is it 2-1?
2-1 Indiana. But I will say it's been very promising. I'm really interested to see what happens tonight. Even if they lose tonight, don't get shelled again. Because we've talked the past couple of weeks about how bad they're bad, like truly bad they are on the road, and they're close to a 500 team at home now. So in order for this, like Deech, you're getting messing with me about like getting like putting the fun bad label on them. But I need, in order for me to get there, that can't be where it's like they go on the road and it's an automatic series loss. Like if they need to eventually start at least stealing a series or two on the road. If it's not tonight, like Texas has been struggling, they go there this weekend. I'm interested now because clearly they've put it together at home where they're semi-competent, splitting with Detroit and taking a series from a team you beat one time all of last year. And it's been promising. I mean, it's exciting. You talked about the rookies. 6 rookies played in the game the other night. I think in Houston, the first one where Shane started and then Taylor came out of the bullpen and then they had the 4 in the lineups. I mean, that's fucking awesome. It makes it a little bit more enjoyable when you're, like you said, I'm getting starting to get more like 2017, 2018 vibes. Maybe so. Maybe both those teams were just god awful, but you were watching. If Moncada had that walk off against Houston in 2017, if anybody remembers it, it was Houston or the Dodgers. It was somebody. It was somebody good, somebody who played in the World Series that year, and so yeah, it's fun. There's still a little ways away, but there's reasons to watch. Actually, that I could have just said that and spared that entire monologue. There's reasons to watch. That is worth something.
And that's been the biggest problem as of the last few years. We really haven't had a reason to watch. And I mean, I think maybe last year, even at the end of the year before, where I feel like we were talking about, I remember the conversation. We were like, what's the reasons to watch? And we were like, shoot, I don't even know who it was. We were like, this guy.
You're just waiting for everyone to get traded or DFA'd, depending on if they were performing. And now you have like, okay, hopefully, Mydrith and Teal and are in this lineup for a long time. I mean, Elko is what it is, but the rookies, I mean, it's still fun.
Yeah.
Caro had a big hit the other night.
Opposite field too. It's so nice to watch.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
there's a lot of critique on Caro, but I think right now they're just going to keep splitting them, and the other one will either DH or get the day off. I mean, both are playing good enough where they obviously don't think Corey Lee should be up. So
no, I mean yeah, Corey Lee, he's a fine player. He's a solid player. There's no reason to have him up though. If you have these two, it's not really about him. It's more so that you have these 2 rookies who are, highly regarded prospects who you deem are ready. Like they should be the 2 who are up. I feel for Corey Lee, but
yeah,
it's the game.
So I guess we'll get going with Vassell. Wound up actually getting the start after we talked about it last week.
Yeah, that was some Rain Man shit from you. You're deeper in the weeds than I am, obviously, but I hadn't, you were the first person to put that on my radar. I hadn't thought about it, so.
I think, honestly, I read they might have been using him as a starter. What was he, in Tampa or something at one point? Or he got some starts there?
Well, Tampa kind of invented the whole opener deal, so I wouldn't surprise me, yeah.
That first year they did that, I remember teams were like, "Ooh, I wonder if this is going to become the new thing." And this, and I remember listening to podcasts, and they were like, "Ooh, is this?" I was just like, "Come on now." And it seems like a lot more teams use it, but it just, I don't know. It's still like kind of like, I mean, because even Detroit had one of those, and that, I mean, yes, that was maybe one of the reasons why we took the game, but like, I mean, it just seems to happen way more often, and it's crazy to think about. The pitchers don't go like they used to, like in 05, like watching like them pitch 4 straight complete game, like that probably will never happen again. And it's wild how like the generations go.
It will never happen again. I mean, there hasn't been, not to get off on a tangent, but there hasn't been a complete game in the postseason since 2017, I don't think. Yeah. Justin Verlander is the last time I can remember. So, I mean,
that's right.
For 4 in a row, you don't even get 1 anymore.
Hope, man.
But what were you on, Deej?
With Vassell, my whole thing is, do you continue with him until Cannon's at least healthy? And at a certain point, Sean Burke, I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe you have an opener for Sean Burke permanently, because I didn't see some of the game last night. Tino did the live stream. I told him, I was like, maybe I'll hop on, and I was busy and I was about to get on and was like, it's already 3-0 and it's the first inning. I'm not putting myself through this. I just wasn't going to jinx the first one I hop in. I'm just getting shelled. So,
well, see, I've done 2 of them now and they've lost, so I think it's me. If they win the next 2, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm done. Like, what the heck? This is bullcrap. No, and that's exactly what it was. I mean, Sean, literally, because I watch you. I mean, I talk about it all the time. I don't miss a game. I don't care what I'm doing, where I'm at. And he was literally he couldn't get anything over. And then when he would get some over, it was right down the middle. And these guys were just bombing it. And Christian Walker looked like he was seeing a beach ball, and he was hitting home runs. Like,
he had like 5 RBIs in the first 3 innings.
Yeah, he was literally. I was thinking. Literally, he scored 4 out of the first 5 RBIs for them last night, because at one point it was 5-0, and I even said because there was a bunch of people in here. I was like, guys, I'm giving it a slaughter rule. I'm like, if they get down by like 8, I'm leaving. I'm like, a touchdown is all I can handle. And then they got like, I think it was like 7-2, and then they just got. I was like, well, okay. Yeah, so we'll see what happens in that. But yeah.
So, I mean, I'd prefer they keep rolling with Vassell, see what you can get out of him, stretch him out a bit, only because at this point they're already kind of doing things that you would not expect. Like, let's just get weird about it. I mean, if Sean Burke is that inconsistent, then, hey, sorry, you're a long reliever, buddy, until next year when you can try for a spot in the rotation in spring training. I mean, if you have other guys that you think you can get something out of or at least explore, it doesn't matter this season. What are you going to maybe lose a few more games if you play around a little bit with that? I mean,
yeah, the losses don't really matter. I don't want to be the worst. I'd like to avoid being the worst team in the AL if they can. But at the end of the day,
the way the Athletics are playing, we're very close. I was looking at it yesterday, man. The Athletics can't do nothing, and even like, man, we're close to that one.
Some of these teams are shocking when you look. Like Baltimore has a larger run differential, like negative. They have way more of a negative run differential than the Athletics run differential is like insane. I mean, anything compared to Colorado is nothing, but I mean, Colorado may break the record for having the worst.
Dude, they were up like 6-3 in the 8th yesterday and lost, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if they did end up losing. I know the Giants took the lead.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Because they're 12-55. And I was listening to one of the episodes from Foul Territory. I forgot. Do you guys think it's bad for baseball that it could be broken 2 years in a row?
Oh, absolutely. No, that's going to be such an issue I don't remember if I talked about this on here, but they're already very pessimistic about this next lockout when the CBA is up.
That's right.
Years. Yeah, and the fact that this is going to have been broken twice in a row is horrible. This is not a record that's made to be broken when you're breaking shit from when there were 8 teams in 1921 is not. That record's supposed to stand forever, and it's going to go 2 years in a row. That's not a coincidence.
Well, and to your point, not being the worst team in the AL, like you cannot be just above the Rockies.
Right.
Like exactly. It just looks really, the optics of it are just as bad as last year, honestly.
Right. Even if they are the worst team in the AL, like maybe above Miami and Pittsburgh too or something, like, a little bit of separation from the worst team ever.
So
I just think there's no reason to be like tanking games, obviously, which it doesn't appear that they're doing, and kind of trickles in. I mean, with either of you, do you agree though, Vassell, just keep rolling with them and see what you have, or would you prefer there's really no one in the minors that they can bring up? So it'd be like Owen White is really the only other option.
I mean, man, we gotta give that guy some. We might win today because of that man. That man went out there and pitched his ass off last night and got as many outs as he could until he couldn't throw no more. So Owen White, I mean, and that's the thing with like a lot of these games too. It's like last year, how many games did we watch that we were leading? Like, I still have the anxiety. Like, even Monday, I'm like, oh my God, I'm waiting for some bullshit to happen. And it's like weird when they finish a game now and there's a 1, 2, 3 inning. It's like I'm not used to it. It's like we were traumatized. At least I was, and it was like they blew so many games last year that it was insane. Like I was looking at, I think last year the person that had the most saves was, I forgot who it was, but at one point I think the one person that was still on the team that had the most saves was Jordan Leisure, and that's the guy. Also, speaking of him, I don't want to see him ever again. Get him off my team, please.
Deej, I'm good with Vassell. I think that they might have pressed their luck a little bit sending him out there for the 4th on Sunday, which I get. I mean, it is what it is. But it was clear. I think 3 batters into the 4th, they were going out to get him. I think he gave up the homer.
Yeah,
but he was good the first. So yeah, I mean, like you said, stretch him out, see what you can get. Like that was his first time doing it, so build up some endurance, I suppose, and see where you go. Again, you don't have any other options, and you're just trying to patch together whatever you can. You know, the old Clevenger argument: someone's got to eat the innings.
His ass was in the background of a picture in Charlotte this past week, and I was just dying. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right, man." That Charlotte team, I feel like they could probably beat the Rockies. I mean, there's some guy, Brooks Baldwin. Before we get to anything else, Brooks Baldwin. Do you guys think he comes up? Because he just seems to be like crushing it as of late. But obviously, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They said Sosa's starting his rehab today. He's obviously in line before.
Oh, that's right too.
But I mean, the problem is, I guess, who you send down for, because it's easy for Sosa because it can either be Rojas or Capra, and that it will be a non-issue. But for Baldwin, it sounds like they want to, they view him as an outfielder at this point, and so to get rid of him, or to bring him up, you have to probably send an outfielder down. Which, if that's like Michael Taylor or Austin Slater, they're probably just asking for their release. And you don't have them anymore because they're veterans. They're not going to go down to triple. I mean, that's at least my thought. So then you just don't. I don't know where they see him, and my thought on him is that he's probably just another 4A player. Like he's crushing it in AAA. Like a lot of guys do that. I would like to see him get another chance. I just don't know what. I don't know what the corresponding move to make that happen is unless somebody gets hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
I honestly just want him to sit down there until maybe a little before the trade deadline. I think they're playing him in center field a decent amount.
Yeah,
so they obviously must think if we flip Robert, and with a tandem, I mean, you could throw Fletcher out there. I mean, they're not going to have these veteran outfielders. I would guess Michael A. Taylor and Slater are gone before or after the deadline. So then you'll have Talkman, Benintendi, and then probably I would guess Dom Fletcher and Baldwin.
And that's assuming they trade. So you assume they'll trade Robert in some capacity?
Robert or Talkman, I'm assuming.
I think they want to.
I don't want them to trade Talkman.
I don't either, but I'm just assuming. But again, like I also think like too, like I keep trying to remember this is Chris Getz and this is not Rick Hahn. So it's like that's the other thing I keep trying to remember too. So it's like I know that he's like a little smarter and not to just go through the revolving full of getting somebody good and then trading them.
Well, you could say that about Getz. I didn't want to trade Fetty last year. What were you saying, Deech?
Sorry.
So hypothetically, if they trade Talkman, the only way I'll be okay with that is if they trade Robert as well. If they're holding on to Robert so he can double down and be like, I'm going to get more value out of him, I just don't trust that that's going to happen. So, I mean, I would prefer you just keep Talkman and move Robert. But if you, for some reason, like held on to Robert and moved Talkman, I would not agree with. I just think there's too much risk. He really has not. He homered the other night because the guy hung a pitch. He just is not perform. It never.
No, yeah, I don't. Yeah, for me, they're independent of each other. I don't care how Robert's time here ends. If it's a trade at the deadline or if they non-tender him or not, whatever. They don't pick up the whatever the hell it is in the offseason, and then they just kind of go their separate ways.
Well, that's the thing I saw. There was some report. I can't. It was one of the beat reporters did a little blurb, and then someone like quoted it or whatever. they may double down and hold on to Robert and try and trade him like in the offseason. So I don't know if I believe you would have to pick up his option, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you can.
Doesn't
If
that
they
cost
don't,
more money?
you have to commit to the contract in order. Yeah, I would think. That makes a ton of sense. But I like Talkman. It's more just the veteran presence.
Yeah.
Of a guy like that, and when you're actually trying to flip the culture, and that's hard to do if it's just a fucking revolving door of, every single year, and you're signing different guys. Like, have a guy be in camp 2 years in a row.
Also, I didn't even think was it Thursday's game, or what was the game that was it Thursday that Alco hit the walk off? We talked about that, right?
Thursday
right?
before the show.
I don't know. I was just thinking about. I was like, wait, that's right. Okay, never mind. Sorry, go ahead, Deech.
So I guess next, Grant Taylor got the call, and there was before he even got the call, when he got moved to the bullpen, half of the fan base decided to like freak out about it and be like, he's a starter. What are they doing? So he got the call. He threw, I think 101 miles per hour he topped off at.
First pitch was 105.
It was 105?
Yeah.
There's no way it was 100.
There's no way.
I swear to God, because I
There's
watched
no
the post-game show. I swear to God, they said his first
That'd
pitch
be like the hardest pitch ever thrown.
I swear to God, let me see, because I swear to God, they said something about him throwing like a pitch that was like 100+ miles.
Was it 101.5?
Maybe that's what it was. I swear I heard a 5 in there. I swear. I'm not losing it. Maybe I am, but I swear I heard a 5 in there.
But
I can, but go ahead.
Now, I want to get both of your opinions first off, and then also, I'm not sure if you both saw or heard Brian Bannister was interviewed. I think he was on a radio show and talked about Grant Taylor, and he said specifically, and I think James Fox even pointed it out on one of the Future Sox podcasts. Bannister called out the way that he throws is like Tyler Glass now, so it's like, if they choose to let him be this elite closer that's more of like a Mason Miller, he does have an injury history. Yeah. So that's a huge factor in it. And on top of that, the way he delivers, I don't know exactly what they were specifically talking about, but the way that his arm stretches does not last for starting pitchers. So you'd wind up with like a Tyler Glass now who's talented, but is hurt half of the time.
Right, and that's if he was.
Yeah. So would you prefer if he's just lighting it up in the bullpen, do you just say ride it with the bullpen for right now?
I mean, we need a closer, right? And yeah, you were right. It was 101.5. I heard a 5, and I thought I was okay. Well, yeah, 101.5. But yeah, no, I think he could be a great closer, and we don't have a closer. I mean, I think that would be, and that's the thing with this fan base. They all want everybody to do this and that, but the second that these guys start doing something, they're all like this and that. And it's just like they're all fickle. That's all what I say. I'm tired of this fan base. So I would not mind him being a closer.
Yeah, I'm on the keep him in the bullpen if that's where they think he belongs. We just talked about how we don't mind keeping Mike Vassell as a spot starter, making opener. So clearly we're all right with where the rotation's at, and then kind of experimenting there. So if they think Grant's future is in the bullpen, then keep him in the bullpen. And you're right, we do need a closer. It's good to have a cheap one.
Oh yeah, because I mean, we all don't think Getz is just gonna get a blank checkbook to use next offseason. So I mean,
don't waste it on a fucking closer. Don't ever do that again. Bitch ass. I know we traded for him, but still.
But no, just overall, I just think the fan base needs to chill a little bit, because it's like the second Brian Bannister said that, everyone's tune just changed. Where it's like, oh, I guess this isn't that bad if he's our closer. I don't know. Even with some of the moves or the bitching that Coulson's not up or this one should be set. It's like, just let them do their jobs at this point. You can't change it. So
no, you know what it is? And I know I talk about a lot of wrestling, and I know probably half the people don't know these wrestling references, but it's just like they want the instant satisfaction. They want that instant thing that's going to happen and be like, oh my God, John Cena did this with The Rock, or Cody did this with whoever. And that's exactly what they want. They want this instant gratification with these players. And it just can't happen overnight. It doesn't work that way. And they got to develop and they got to come up and they got to and hopefully they all come up and continue to play like these guys. And that's just what the biggest problem with me with these fans, where it's just like they want Colston, they want this and that. But the second he comes up and starts doing bad, then they want him to go back down. Or like Tim Elko, he strikes out and they're like, okay, we'll send his ass down. But then we want him right. It's just like, and that's the thing, like we talked about with the AAA and major leagues. You could kill it in AAA, but you come to the MLB, and they even said it last night. One of the pitchers, he threw a pitch, and they were like, oh, in AAA, Tim Elko hits that. But in MLB, it's a little faster, and you got to catch up to it. And, and it just – so that's my thing is it takes time. And these guys are 22 years old. Like, it's not like it's, we're going to be here for a while, hopefully. Hopefully we're good for it just – like, I think people forget about that sometimes, especially this generation, like we're all like, yeah. So that's what I got to say about that.
So with you mentioning Tim Elko, I will transition. With Sosa, I think Justin touched on it. He's starting his rehab tomorrow. I know Rojas, I thought someone said had an option. I don't think Vinny Capra is like you DFA him. I don't think he has any more moves to be made there.
Poor Vinny.
So I honestly think it's going to be Elko. Probably. I just don't know. He's not. It's really turning into just like home run or bust.
Well, yeah, and he walks. He definitely walks. And that's the thing. I looked it up. They're 13th in walks, and they've been last the last 2 years. So, and they had 8 walks Monday, I think, or Tuesday it was when they won, and that's like a huge thing where it's like I think he had 2 walks and everything, but like he's not being able to catch up to these pitches that I think if him having more time and everything else like that, I think would benefit him, especially, because can't Kyle Teal play first base too? Isn't he like a first base guy? So like they really don't lose like a first baseman in a way, and Vargas can obviously play first too. So,
And I'm not sure if that goes in with like the long-term plan, because eventually Colson, you would assume, will be called up. Brian Ramos, I believe, is on the 40-man and has actually been starting to hit. I thought
Where
I saw.
Has he been? Did they just forget
Charlotte?
Did they forget he played in the majors last year? Like I enjoyed, like last year, he was kind of one of the guys I kind of enjoyed watching.
I think it's similar with, how when Benintendi, he hurt his arm. I think it was like his forearm or something. But Benintendi had the hand injury last year, and a lot of times they just can't get their swing back right away. So I think they've just been letting him kind of chill down there to figure it out, because there's not a dire need for him to be up. But then again, they have so many middle infielders that they're going to be calling up, and to an extent, Chase Mydruth has played a very solid shortstop, in my opinion, where I don't necessarily think just because Colson is getting called up that should just be like, that's Colson's position. I mean, you have a guy who's proving it at the major league level. I don't think Colson is necessarily touted as like some defensive wizard. So I'd like to see Chase stay at shortstop, but then that's where Elko, I feel like, is kind of the odd man out, because then you can play Colson at third, Vargas goes to first. There's just going to be a lot of movement, I feel like, especially in the second half. But
it's a good problem to have finally. I feel like we haven't had this problem in a second, where it's like we have like different options that we can kind of work with, and and obvious, I don't know, it's just.
Well, I mean, if Tim Elko ends up being the odd man out, I mean, that's just that what you just said is probably what they not only what they will do, what they should do. It's he's a placeholder. It's fine. They bat him 9th, so that tells you everything you need to know about him. How many first basemen bat 9th at the major league level? Not very many. So,
no. It's kind of crazy. He is when
I'm not even trying to like hate on him or anything. I just don't. He just doesn't like fit what gets the rest of the mold of what they're trying to build. He just doesn't seem like he fits into that. So
he was a 10th round pick. I mean, they didn't draft him thinking he's in the mold for the future. And I mean, I've loved seeing him get his opportunity. It's been cool, and he's I like having a guy who can run into one, but it's just the reality of the situation.
So, and I know I mentioned, to kind of transition, I know I mentioned Colson could get called up. Do we think he is the next one that they actually call up, or is it going to be a bullpen arm? They have more kind of just chilling, and I think Charlotte. I think all three of them. They have that Peyton Pallette who's in Charlotte, Iriarte,
Is
who
it
I think
Wolf?
didn't
Is it Wolf
Iriarte pitch in the
Alice?
majors at the end of last year?
Yeah, yeah, he was. He was
Okay,
up here
and
for
then
like
they have that Winkleman Gonzalez,
that guy.
um, who all should be, I would think, would be called up within the next 2 months or so. But do we think it's going to be Colson or is it a pitcher?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I mean, like even because I wanted to look at the lineup for the Knights, and I mean, like I'm looking at the lineup, and I really can't see. Like, it's still kind of funny. Andrew Vaughn is still down there. Like, I just I kind of forgot that he was on the team for a second. But yeah, no, I think it's gonna be a pitcher, and I think it's gonna be the Gonzalez guy. That because I mean, like that's the thing, like that we're like. Like the starters do very well, and the days the hitters hit, we do very well. And it's just the bullpen that stresses me out. That it's just like if we get a couple more guys that we could rely on, will be huge. And I think and it seems like a lot of them are getting ready to come up. So I'll go with Gonzalez if it's not Montgomery, because I don't see any other position players that could really possibly come up right now. So, Justin, who you got?
Yeah, I mean, I truly don't know. I guess like when do you think they're calling up Montgomery, and then I might have a better idea. I don't know what their plan is. I think Montgomery will probably be up by the end of July, right? Like around the deadline.
Yeah. Probably after.
Yeah,
I wouldn't bet against them bringing up some bullpen help before that happens. So I probably would on the bullpen train as well.
You can never have too many.
I almost wonder if you're going to get one of those like ghost ILs where they're just going to throw somebody and be like, oh, his arm's sore, throw him on the IL for 10 days and bring one of these other guys up, because I pretty much think Getz is going to try at least to hold out as long as possible on a lot of these bullpen arms before DFAing them till the deadline, because if they can get hot for like a month leading up to the deadline, some team, I mean, look at Tanner Banks. Half of the fan base would like throw an absolute fit every single time he like took the ball. And he wound up getting us a guy that isn't like a highly touted prospect, but he has been tearing it up in AA. I mean, it just adds another layer of depth. So I think that's what, like maybe a Steven Wilson or someone like that, I could see them flipping.
What do you do with your Steven Wilson alerts then? Who's going to be the new guy?
I don't know, man. They get rid of all the bullpen arms I enjoy.
They do. They do. But yeah, I mean, and that's bullpen has just been the biggest problem so far, because again, all the starters have been doing their part for the most part. Other than Schomburg.
So, I mean, other than that, I haven't really paid close attention to the All-Star voting. I think, at least from what I've seen, it seems to be Shane Smith will be the unanimous, like at least one representative. The only other two names people are throwing out there are Vargas or Chase. Do you think either of them has done enough to even warrant trumping over Shane Smith? I really don't.
Not even close. I mean, frankly, no. I mean, they're not all-stars. Shane Smith is legitimately an all-star, and the other two are like, if we didn't have Shane Smith, one of them would have to go, but no.
I mean, did you see that where they're saying the Rockies might not have a representative? So I don't know if that's true.
Have a representative.
But I think everybody does have to. And I mean, like I think it's gonna be Shane Smith, like unanimously. There we go, I can say it. But I feel like a Vargas or a Mydroff or somebody like that will be a replacement if somebody's hurt or doesn't feel like playing, like Aaron Judge or Stanton back on the out, or I think Stanton's still on the out. But I think it's gonna be something like that where I feel like it will have like a couple like replacements possibly, just depending on what continues to happen. And that's the thing about, like they said it yesterday with two, like guys have been having pain, like Chase has been having pain, but he's playing through it. Like it's different from being and having pain than being hurt. And that's the thing with like a lot of these guys. Like they might be in pain, but they're playing through it. And Chase wants to play every day. And that's another thing where it's like before Eloy has a sprained ankle, he's out for 3 weeks. So But yeah, no, I think it will be Shane unanimously because they always
Rick
like,
Hahn and those fuckers sat there and lied through their teeth, though, and
man,
made it seem like Yohan Moncada wanted to go out
oh,
there and play, but his fucking pain was too much. I mean, yeah, that's
they
fine.
stopped
I don't
running
know.
down
I
the
just
field.
can't buy into that whole like pain. That whole Hahn era ruined the whole thing for me with the whole injuries. It's like you're either hurt or you're not. I mean, I
Han,
get
like
their
Han
soreness. I
fucked
get,
everything.
yeah. I mean, when Mydrith came up, his hand was taped, and I kind of thought, okay, it seems odd that you'd be taping that, but so I'm sure guys get dinged up, but not to say you can't get hurt, but that whole previous core just ruined it all for me with that whole aspect of the game.
Oh my, that whole like 6 years just like literally just like I don't know, awful. I never want.
Moncada would just swing the bat and start wincing. It
I
was like, come on, dude.
I
And
know.
then he'd step out of, I mean, thank God they changed the rules so he can't sit there and fuck off every time he misses like swinging at a pitch. But
We don't want.
um yeah, that's really about it. I mean, they have their upcoming series. They have tonight, obviously. Framber Valdez. My whole thing is they better jump on him early because I think he pitched against us earlier in the season,
Yeah,
and they had an opportunity to score and then didn't. And when you let him settle in, he will just groove
I
into
think
like
he
the
was the one
seventh.
game that we lost against them because we took the series in Chicago.
So
I think that was the one we lost. But yeah, and that's the and he's always
hopefully they pull it off tonight. I
hopeful.
saw people were bitching about the lineup already because Vinny Capra and Palacios are in it, but it's why
Listen, bro,
complain
they
at this
showed
point?
they showed Palacios number, and I hated on Palacio, but he's doing exactly what he needs to do.
He's
And
hitting
but
125 against lefties, though. That was the gripe with tonight.
so we
Yeah.
have you were you were talking about Alco batting ninth or eighth and ninth. Tonight's lineup is it's Chase, Vargas, Slater third, Caro, Robert, Alco, Palacio, Taylor, and Vinny. So Alco is now sixth. So they actually moved him up. But so what? But I don't understand what the problem with the lineup is. It's a getaway day in a way. Like what do we want here? Like I mean who's not in the lineup? Teal and
Benintendi's not
Benintendi.
in it,
Oh,
but
that
I
sucks.
don't know. I didn't have an issue with it. I mean,
Man, they just find everything
either
to
they're going to hit or they're not. It's nice to see like everyone was throwing a fit. Vinny Capra was in the lineup last night, and Vinny Capra sat there and had a double and scored like a run. I mean, for right now, it just is what it is. Everyone bitched about Jacob Amaya, and now they're wanting I'd rather have him than Vinny Capra. And it's like, well, I mean, you had him and you were stomping your feet throwing a fit about it before, so just let it the fuck go already.
they don't like anything, man. They don't want like it's just and then if we score 10 runs tonight, they're gonna be like, oh, we hot, we on fire, we back. And it's just like, okay,
So
we back again.
they have 3 then against Texas. So we'll start with that series. How many games do you each think they'll win that series?
Justin, you want to go first?
I'll stick with my typical one prediction, at least for the road series for the foreseeable future.
Okay.
What,
Fair, at least for the road.
yeah, I mean, yeah, no. What are they 7-20 something? I don't know. It's still bad, but I mean, yeah, no. I think personally that they could take 2 out of 3 against them and take another series. And that's the thing is if they could just keep taking series, getting win here and there, and that's like it's so helpful just to continue to do that. So I'll say 2 out of 3 because I do think that they can get the win tonight, and they just need to keep the momentum because this is like the first like road trip and like that like they're coming off that they've actually played decent on the road because I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just sleeping in their own beds at home because they just love it. So we'll have to see what happens.
Tonight's going to be telling though, because they played great on the road on in the first game. The last night, at least from what I saw, I was just like, "What is going on here?" So, the only good thing about Texas is we do have Hauser and Shane Smith pitching, and then it looks like it'll either be Vassell or whoever they decide to throw for Cannon spot. But I will say I'll say 2 out of 3 they'll win. I think they'll win Hauser start and Shane start only because they have no pitchers listed for Texas for either of those, and
Let's see.
it's
Matchup.
gonna be DeGrom versus whoever, whether it's Vassell or DeGrom has looked good this year. I just don't.
Good to see. I love Jake DeGrom.
I'm happy that he has made semi of a comeback because he was supposed to be that dude and he just kind of fell off for a little and had those injury problems. So I always like to see the comebacks from these players. Unless you're Josh Naylor and hit a walk off, I still hate you.
Hey man, I'll buy a Josh Naylor jersey if that motherfucker signs with the Sox long term.
I signed him in my.
He would rake at the rate.
Oh, he would. It would either be he would kill it or he would completely forget how to play baseball. It would be one or the other with him. And did you say we're taking 2 out of 3 against the Cardinals that we have Hauser and Smith, or was that the Rangers?
No, that was Texas.
Okay.
So how many do you think will win in Texas?
I said 2 out of 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they're at home against St. Louis. I can't. The pitching matchups right now are showing to be determined, but I mean it's going to pick up after Shane Smith.
Because they're also off Monday, aren't they? Again.
Yes, they're off on Monday.
They're off Monday again, so that will give a day of rest. Maybe the day of rest in Chicago will help them come out for game 1, because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but sometimes the first game back at home they kind of struggle, like they did against the Tigers, and then they came out the next day and won 8-1. So it's like that day that they just need to have like a good day in Chicago or something, you know. Obviously, sleeping in your own beds probably helps and everything. So. Yeah, no.
So then how many do you think they'll take against the Cardinals?
Man, I don't know. The Cardinals always stress me out, and they're always seeming like to be a very good team.
Yeah, they're playing really well right now. I'll say 2 out of 3, though. Why not?
Yeah, and that's the thing where, you know, I'm gonna say with this one is 1 out of 3 just because the Cardinals, and I've watched them play I don't know, watching them play the NL sometimes it's like they either play very well or very bad. And it's like never in between. Like, I don't know. Like, I remember that Brave series. Like, your birthday. Like, we were talking about your birthday a couple years ago. Remember that Brave series? It was over by the first pitch. I forgot. And it was just like, well, and I think that was the one game we lost or whatever. And they took the other 2. But it just, I don't know. So the Cardinals, I'll say 1 out of 3 versus them is there any day games?
Yeah, that's next Thursday. I'm going to the game, so I will not be here.
Oh, that's right, guys. Deech won't be here next week. So
they
figure I was supposed to go to that game, but they didn't send me my ticket, so that's okay.
They say my plan's a weekend plan, but they always throw like one Thursday in there, and I just realized that the other day. So I mean, it's cool. It's the Cardinals. I always like when it's like
different teams.
A team that we didn't used to always play. I mean, growing up, you would go to a game. It's like Kansas City, Detroit, Cleveland. So I always find them fun. So
I can't. I've been to so many Twins White Sox games. It's disgusting. Like I purposely will not go to them. Like I'll choose any other games because I can't. Man, it's just some of the. But that's the one thing that I do like about the schedule now is that we are having the opportunity, like next year, like the White Sox will be out here in Milwaukee. So if I want to go see the Sox play against the Brewers, I can. Where like before it would kind of like depend, So I like that they're able to play every team now, and then they switch off like home away now. Just makes it,
So I'll say they take 2 out of 3 from the Cardinals as well. That's the thing. If they can like pull off at least one of these series on the road, if they can win, that's really where this season turns into like a lot of fun. If they can start winning on the road, going to the ballpark, like when I was there this past Saturday when they won against Kansas City, I mean, and obviously we all saw the Mexican Heritage Night on Friday was like completely sold out.
Oh my God. I have never seen them. I have not seen that many people there in forever. Like,
I mean, the vibes are definitely starting to come back where it's more of everyone's there to actually enjoy like a quality product on the field, or at least getting close to being a quality product, where before it was like you were going just to go or just to like go watch baseball. There was no expectation. So that's really all I
Those
have.
are the real ones. That's what I always like to say. If you weren't there when we did that, I don't want you here when they're packed houses. Because I watch games in the rain, the snow, and they're 6-30, whatever the one game I went to last year. Like I don't know, man. Like you gotta be there through the thick and thin because you can't just join us and jump on the bandwagon as soon as these guys become, and it just that's what that's always been with me about sports. It's always just about like trying to support the one team that you go and root for. And obviously you have other favorites. I have other teams I like, but it will never hit the same as if like when the White Sox win the World Series again or the Bears or something like that. Like I don't know. So I just we're getting back to having fun summer baseball again that we haven't had in.
I think the crowds will pick up too. If the weather's nice, the bleachers and brews ticket is like $24 or something now. Like they lowered the price. So I mean you're getting like 2 free beers with your ticket. I mean people go for that. I think there's even like a summer like ticket pricing where it's like $20 during the week, 25 on the weekends for lower level tickets. I mean people, if they can keep winning, I'm not saying every night or like anything crazy, but if they consistently play good baseball, I mean, people enjoy the team enough. So
exactly, and I mean, yeah, we're still 22 games under 500, but I mean, we literally have 7 more wins than we do last year. Time we're at 500, I think, in the last 16 games, and it just to the point where it just like you don't like I said earlier, like it got to a point even like the last few years where it was just like you like they had the lead and it was just like, well, it was gone right away. Or like even now, like they got down one of these games 4-0, they fought their way all the way back. And it just like you really never know. Or even Sunday. It was funny. I turned off the game, it was 7-2. I'm like, God damn, I'm like, I hate life. And they turned it off. I went in shower and I turned it on and they had bases loaded, nobody out. I was like, well, it's like this way you never know. You never give up, and you'll miss that one game that they score 8 runs in the top of the 9th or bottom of the 9th, whatever it is. And it's just like, how many times has it happened to us? I think it's time for us to do it to them now. I think it's time for like, and that's kind of like, yeah. So, got anything else, Deej? You want me to take over now?
yeah, that's all I got for this week.
Justin, you got anything else you want to talk about?
No, sir.
No, sir. You're done for the day. Well, guys, I appreciate you. We appreciate you as always coming and hanging out here. Also want to say shout out to everybody that did join me over here yesterday. We had over 120 people in the live stream on X, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you all were watching. We did finally get over 60 subscribers, so shout out to you guys. We're at 61, 62. So continue to hit that subscribe button as we continue the road to 100. I will be continuing to do these watch-alongs as the games go on. I think I'm going to do 2 games next week because I was going to do the Texas game, but I got to go to Chicago and see my dad this weekend. So we will be live next week. I'll do 2 of the Cardinals games and then next weekend and everything. So, guys, make sure you follow all the social medias. Make sure you go check out the OTM guys. They're live right now. Go check out the Main Event Network crew. Tino's time as we're on the road to 4K, Southside boys, all that good stuff. Hit that like button, subscribe. Hit that notification button, and we'll see you guys, or I'll see you. Justin, will you be here next week too?
I should be, yeah. I'll let you know for sure.
Well,
but as far as I know,
Tino and Justin will be here. Deech, enjoy the White Sox game, and we'll talk to you in a few weeks. Guys, enjoy your Thursday, and let's go White Sox.